So finally, everybody had taken the NBC and the rest of the world in the United States to catch up to where a pothead comedian was 2.5 years ago.
Where's Sean Penn? I've been looking for him.
Where's Sean Penn?
On Instagram, you don't have nothing?
So everybody's turning against the Ukraine war now, even NBC News. And the United States government. U.S. and European officials have begun quietly talking to the Ukrainian government about what possible peace negotiations with Russia might entail to end the war. They had a peace agreement in March of 2022. There would have never been a war had the United States not said that they were going to put Ukraine in NATO. There would have never been a war had Ukraine's Nazis, Azov Battalion, ramped up their bombing of the Donbass. So this war was provoked by NATO and Ukraine, and they wanted it. And there was a peace deal in place in March of 2022, and NATO sent Boris Johnson to Ukraine to squash it. And you know who else squashed it? The Azov Battalion said if he does a peace deal, they'll hang him from a tree. And we'll see. So now we see what happens if he's going to get hung by a tree, because now the United States is pushing for a peace deal because the tide has turned here in the United States against funding this war. And Ukraine, their entire country, is being run off United States money. We're paying the salary of their teachers, of their cops, of their firemen, of their doctors. We're paying their medical bills. We're paying for everything. The United States is. We won't do that for people in the United States, but we'll do it for the most corrupt country in Europe. Why? Because there's a grift involved. You can give that money to the military-industrial complex. Go ahead.
Pretty sure we paid for the tide of support, too, because I remember seeing that in real life. People really giving a rat's ass about Ukraine to that degree. I know a lot of bots, a lot of the flag emojis, a lot of like shit libs that just travel in the circles of parroting MSNBC. No actual people. To even do jokes about it with just a normal crowd, I would have to like reference something else and work it in a little bit, because they're like, who cares about that?
So let's listen to this headline. It says that they've begun quietly talking to the Ukraine government about what possible peace negotiations with Russia might entail to end the war. And so what they're doing is now they have to beg Russia to end the war. So now instead of ending the war when Russia was ready right away, now, as we all say, it's ending exactly like we said it would end. It's going to end on Russia's terms. That's how this is ending. And Russia's going to keep Crimea. They're going to keep Donbass. They're going to keep that 20% of the country that they wanted in the first place. And they're going to keep their direct line to the sea.
Wow. And it only costs us about $113 billion?
It only costs us like almost $200 billion.
Best money we ever spent.
The conversations have included very broad outlines of what Ukraine might need to give up to reach a deal. We said this all along.
What?
What is the date on this? What is the date? This is,
what is wrong with it?
November 3rd, 2023. So we told you this in March of 2022. The discussions are an acknowledgement of the dynamics militarily on the ground in Ukraine and politically in the U.S. and Europe, officials said. They began amid concerns among U.S. and European officials that the war has reached a stalemate. Wait, I thought that they were winning and counteroffensive and Putin's getting his ass kicked all over Ukraine. This is what I've had people tell me to my face who watch the mainstream news and read the New York Times and the Washington Post. They've said this. Oh, I had a guy, a Boston comedian, tell me, I'm enjoying watching Putin get his ass kicked all across Ukraine. What?
He was in Ukraine? Or what was he watching?
But
they don't allow importers.
He was watching CNN. Go ahead.
And I'm just saying, it's no stalemate either. It's
no stalemate.
It's no fucking stalemate.
So they lost. Now it's a matter of how much more money are they going to pay your money to like leave with honor. What's the exit strategy here? Do we just let him die?
Biden administration officials also are worried that Ukraine is running out of forces. Oh, you're kidding.
What?
Yeah, they've been. Well, we're going to show you.
What about the wheelchair special forces brigade that they stuffed into it?
They've been grabbing guys off bus stops.
Yeah,
and that. So don't you think if the Ukraine people believed in this war, they would voluntarily go to fight this? They don't. So they're running out of forces while Russia has a seemingly endless supply. Yeah, you know what Hey Siri, what's the population of Ukraine?
500,000.
It's 37 million. 37 million. Less people than live in California, live in Ukraine. Hey Siri, what's the population of Russia? 133. So they have almost 100 more million people. Yeah, this was all. So, okay. Ukraine is also struggling with recruiting and has been seen public. Oh, so here it is. You want to see this is their recruiting. This is the recruiting. That's how they recruit. They go up to a bus stop where a guy's got a backpack on, and they just grab him.
That's one of the nicer ones I've seen.
And
No shit.
That's one of the kinder recruitings.
You can't. What's the matter, Ukraine? You can't convince somebody to join your military. Seems like patriotism would be at an all-time high in Ukraine, don't you think? Well, but you should do what Israel's doing right now. Keep showing sexy girls doing dance routines in their dorms.
Is that what they do?
That's what I've heard. Okay, those are guys doing that. But they have lots of pretty girls, and you're missing out on a war publicity department. It's time to make genocide sexy again.
No, they fired that one pretty girl that was their spokesman.
This is how they're This is called struggling. This is called struggling with recruiting. Struggling. I mean, the guy's not even fighting you that hard. You know what I mean? Like, I would be punching that guy, trying to whatever. He's not even doing that. So how good is he going to be fighting in an actual war?
I mean, how fast is he going to be taking advantage of that surrender to Russia program that Russia had to start?
Volga.
Yeah, it's going to be quick.
Yeah.
There is, this is from NBC News, which is why it's funny. There is unease in the United States government with how much less public attention the war in Ukraine has garnered since the Israel-Hamas war began nearly a month ago. It's not really a war.
It's also, yeah.
Officials fear that the shift could make securing additional aid for Kiev more difficult.
Which officials? I'd like to know their names.
Right. I'm calling it Kiev, by the way. I'm not going to call it Kiev because it's called Chicken Kiev. It's not called Chicken Kiev.
Chicken Kev. Kev is what I call it.
Do you really?
Yeah, Kev.
You mean starting now?
I've been saying it for
your whole life. You've been saying Chicken
You've been
Kev.
saying Kiev. You know it.
No, I wouldn't. I just never said it. But
Yeah.
during this story, I've been saying.
I tried to tell Ukraine, hey baby, United States is not a reliable partner. They just want to get in your pants.
You did say that.
They're going to leave you high and dry because their eyes are set on somebody else already.
We're married.
You're just their temporary bitch, man.
Yeah,
it was just a flirtation. That was it. Uncle Sam's never serious. Uncle Sam's like the Don Juan. They go around pretending they like you, then they kill you.
We spread our, I guess that's what we call our seed, our democracy.
Yeah. Yes.
We left a load of democracy on your back. Your money's on the dresser. Get the hell out of here.
Uncle Sam never falls in love, baby, but you didn't know that? Uncle Sam's a heartbreaker, which is code for homicidal maniac.
Zelensky is really going to be, what is he going to do?
He's gonna end up dead. I think that Azovs will kill him. Okay, here we go. Some U.S. military officials, or he's gonna get a sitcom on United States television.
So he's going to retire to Miami.
Do you think he's
I bet he's gonna go live with Hyman Roth, and as a retired businessman living on a pension in Miami.
I don't know. I think we're gonna hang him out to dry. I bet you Sean Penn's not taking his calls right now.
I wonder if he already sold that Oscar. I bet he did.
Yeah.
You don't think he sold that Oscar? Of course he did.
I will give you Sean Penn's Oscar if you give me some credit.
Some U.S. military officials have privately begun using the term stalemate. Really? I think that's what they're publicly using. Privately, they're like, this was a lost cause from the beginning, and everybody knew it. They described the current battle in Ukraine, with some saying it may come down to which side can maintain a military force the longest. Well, which side do you think that is? The side that has to grab people off bus stops to go fight in this war, or the ones with an extra 100 million people?
Yeah. But Zelensky said we would have to go fight if they lost, didn't he?
Yeah, he said we would have to go fight if Ukraine started losing. Neither side is making large strides on the battlefield. Russia has made all the strides they want to make, and they're not going backwards. So they now describe it as a war of inches. Only if we're talking about Zelensky's penis. Am I right? Officials also have privately said Ukraine likely only has until the end of the year or shortly thereafter before more urgent discussions about peace negotiations should begin. Why is that? Because there's no more money. That's why. The United States, there's no more money. That's why they only have to the end of the year. And they wouldn't have that long if they didn't pretend they found $6 billion in the couch. Remember that? They go, oh, there was an accounting error. There's actually $6 billion more. You imagine if they sent that $6 billion to Los Angeles or to New York or to Atlanta or Minneapolis or East Palestine or Flint, Michigan. Imagine if they sent that money there. Imagine if they sent
even after all the graft that would happen with just the trickle down change after they got done stealing it, it would be better than the thing that happened now.
Yeah.
So I just want to see it. You know they have $3,000 toilet seats in Ukraine now.
They do?
You know that. I'm sure they have $5,000 hammers. That's how this works, Kurt. Come on. You don't remember all those stories about $3,000 toilet seats?
I just thought we were at least sending them the actual guns to steal. I didn't know they were like.
So listen to this. This is funny. Any decisions about negotiations are up to Ukraine, Adrian Watson, a spokesperson for the National Security Council, said. We are focused on continuing to stand strongly in support of Ukraine as they defend their freedom and independence against Russian aggression.
They're not having elections, by the way.
Any decisions about negotiations are up to Ukraine. Any decisions about negotiations are up to the United States State Department, and that's that. It's such a that talk about doing the Biden has requested that Congress authorize additional funding for Ukraine, but so far the effort has failed to progress because of resistance from some congressional Republicans. Yeah, I think they got a Speaker of the House fired over it. The White House, that's some resistance. The White House has linked aid for Ukraine and Israel in its most recent request. That has support among some congressional Republicans, but other GOP lawmakers have said they'll only vote for an Israel-only aid package. Biden has been reassuring U.S. allies that Congress will approve more aid for Ukraine and planned a major speech on the issue. Once Hamas terrorists attacked Israel on October 7th, the president's focus shifted to the Middle East, and his Ukraine speech morphed into an Oval Office address about why the U.S. should financially support Ukraine and Israel. The Biden administration has spent $43.9 billion on security assistance, but that's just the direct money they're spending on weapons.
Yeah.
So they're spent another, I'm going to guess, almost another $100 billion on paying their medical bills, paying for their doctors, their nurses, their EMTs.
Double the total, the Carlito's Way method, and that's probably what they spent.
The U.S. officials say the administration has about $5 billion left to send to Ukraine before the money runs out. You got any money to send to the United States?
What are you, the FTX kid?
No kidding. All right.
It's fine.
There would be no aid left for Ukraine if the administration. Yeah, that's it. If they hadn't found the 6.2.
There you are.
There it is. Progress in Ukraine's counteroffensive. Progress in Ukraine's counteroffensive has been very slow, meaning none.
Like it's moved backwards in time.
It's gone, yes, and hope that Ukraine will make significant advances, including reaching the coast near Russia's front line, is fading. This is NBC News. This is NBC News. Who wrote this goddamn piece of shit? Who wrote this? Let's see who wrote this. Oh, it doesn't say. Oh, no.
Courtney Cube.
Courtney Cube.
Took 3 people to do
Carol E. Lee.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, 3 ladies. 3 lady reporters, huh?
Wow.
I bet they're all born with silver spoons in their mouth and they all went to Ivy League schools. And none of them care that they lie on a regular basis. Their job is to deceive you. That's what those 3 women's job is. Their job is to deceive you. And they're doing it. Let's see. Okay. I think it's over. A Gallup poll released this week shows decreasing support for sending additional aid, with 41% of Americans saying the U.S. is doing too much to help Kiev. That's a significant change from just 3 months ago, when only 24% of Americans said that. I wonder what happened between that and then. I wonder what happened. Administration officials expect Ukraine to want more time to fight on the battlefield, particularly with new, heavier equipment. But there's a growing sense that it's too late and it's time to do a deal. We knew this at this show.
Sense is there?
A growing sense.
Yeah.
We knew this when the war started. We knew this in February. What was it? That's when it started, right? February 2022.
22.
We knew this.
I'm just blown away
at this show, and now it takes those 3 ladies at NBC to figure it out.
How many clips you think there are of people like Jimmy Dore's garbage takes on Ukraine? Who supported that war? You look like an asshole. They lost.
One senior administration official pushed back on any notion of the U.S. Wonder where Kyle Kalinske and everybody over at Breaking Points are, because they were all for this. They were all for the funding of this war.
They were?
They were for it, sure.
Was it pre-blonde or after?
I don't know.
Before he became a beta sex kitten. Before his alter beta sex kitten was induced.
The Ukrainians, the official said, are on the clock in terms of weather, but they are not on the clock in terms of geopolitics.
What the hell does that mean?
I don't know. Let me see. I forgot to read the first paragraph. One senior administration official pushed back on any notion of the U.S. nudging Ukraine toward talks.
Oh.
They're on the clock in terms of weather, but they're not on the clock in terms of geopolitics. And a huge laugh could be heard inside the room when the official said that.
What in the hell does that mean?
They're trying to pretend that Ukraine is autonomous and doing their own thing. And we're not nudging. We're not pushing them.
Zelensky's gonna be dead. That means
yes.
Their own people are gonna. It's their responsibility to kill him, not our. Because that would make us look bad to not back him up. It's better for us if he went away. That's how I take that.
I agree. Here's what Glenn Greenwald with 2 N's says: an absolutely brutal article where NATO is all but admitting they lost the war to Russia and now must beg for peace, hoping Russia will be satisfied with 20% of Ukraine, because that's what they got. There are now going to be many people pretending they were against the monstrosity all along who weren't.
Okay, leave Crystal and Sagar alone.
I'm going to guess Crystal, Sagar.
That's normal, too. They're going to pretend like they were against it.
Yes.
That's normal
And
behavior.
Kyle Clint, they're all going to pretend they were against it. And the Young Turks probably also, because they were super 100% pro-Ukraine war.
Anya's going to, in her Now I Get Why Woke Is Bad tour. Yeah, Anna. Yeah. Sorry, Anna. Woke is crazy. And also that Ukraine thing wasn't a good idea.
Yeah. Now, so this guy says, now imagine this happened in 2022 when Ukraine would have gotten a better deal. Hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians would still be alive and not maimed, and millions would still be living at home. Oh, and hundreds of billions wouldn't have been pissed away on surplus, defective, and antiquated weapons. Glenn with 2 N's says again, poor Zelensky, the U.S. found a new foreign war involving a better friend, and now nobody is interested in his war any longer because there's a new war that serves all the same needs and more. Sorry, we really do love you and can still be friends.
Hey, it only costs 5% of our military budget. I think that's what's getting lost here, Jimmy.
Here's Nick Cruz says, so essentially the NATO left sacrificed all those Ukrainians for absolutely nothing.
That's not true. What about blessings from Moloch?
That's right. Every single progressive who supported this war has a lot to answer for, except they won't. So whenever you lie at the behest of the establishment, there's never a reckoning, and there's never a price you have to pay.
No accountability.
I can already see various left-wing, like the guy one of the largest, that Goldberg guy, he was one of the largest guys pushing the Iraq war. He's now the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic. You don't get fired for lying at the behest of the establishment and pushing their lies. You get promoted.
Well,
that's how Rachel. That's the job.
The job is to lie for the establishment. So of course, when you pull off, it's like being a lawyer defending someone indefensible. Is how they look at it.
Yes.
Someone's got to do the job of lying, and I was just a damn good liar.
Glenn's response says, I can already see various left-wing online influencers trying to be all snide and critical about what the U.S. did now as if they objected from the start. But few did, because every single Democrat in D.C., from AOC to Bernie, voted yes, and they had no permission to speak out.
But, it really puts this whole Gaza-Israel thing in perspective, because we got over 500,000 people killed with this nonsense adventure.
Right. That's right.
They haven't even got close to that score yet.
Not even close.
This is a Kirk quote right here, by the way.
I feel sorry for Zelensky. The U.S. abandoning your country for Israel is like your husband leaving you for his first wife.
Mine's better.
What's yours, Kurt?
Yeah.
Zelensky's only option now is to tell America he's pregnant and he knows it's ours. Please, this baby will love you.
Leaving your side piece to go back to your ex-wife, right?
Okay. All right. Well, you're going to get that kind of reporting 2 years earlier if you tune into the Jimmy Dore Show.
Why would that be the case? It's insane. You got to listen to just crazy to me.
What?
Over the time I've been here, I've watched them all say the same thing you're saying, but like 1 to 2 years later.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so in when it comes
every story, every single
no
one,
matter what story it is,
I know.
but they still won't say it about COVID. They're still pretending that they were right about it and the vaccine
I'm
is.
seeing cracks though, because the great Scott Galloway, you ever see that genius?
Yeah.
He was like calling for forgiveness.
Oh, that's right.
For getting it wrong.
That's right.
Along with Cuomo, Andrew Cuomo.
Bill Maher, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the way he did it was so snotty and whatnot. It wasn't like a real saying I'm sorry. It's like, you should forgive us. We were dealing with the information we had. That's not saying you weren't. Sorry, asshole.
No, you weren't dealing with the info. Why is it that I got it right? You weren't. I figured out that the vaccine didn't stop transmission and contraction. It was very easy. First, I interviewed the guy who invented the mRNA vaccine technology instead of smearing him. And then I looked at the countries that were having the biggest outbreaks of COVID were the countries that had the biggest uptake of the vaccine.
Hey, how about...
That's all you had to do. And by the way, I have to say this,
Yeah.
that the vaccine, although it doesn't stop the transmission or contraction, it certainly slows the spread and will keep you from getting seriously ill, sick, or hospitalized or dead.
Hospital
It's a
beds.
fantastic, fantastic thing. Also, what was the other thing I wanted to say? But go ahead. You want to say something?
How about instead of apologizing, like, hey, I guess we shouldn't censor you anymore. You don't have to apologize. Say you were right about it. And just say, because you feel bad, maybe I shouldn't, like, because you didn't have the data you needed, it sounds like.
Yeah, that's right. They're pretending
you censored, and you didn't know because you censored the data.
You called people white supremacists. Yeah. You called people anti-vaxxers. You called people grifters. You called people liars. You called people everything in the book. I was called that, and I was correct on all those things. They were the one. All you had to do was even on your TV, if you watch MSNBC, you knew Fauci lied about. He lied about masks. He lied about the origin of the virus. He lied about transmission, contraction, natural immunity, herd immunity. He admitted to those things.
Well, Jimmy, when you do an ad copy, you don't insult the product, your sponsor.
Yeah, that's
you
right.
Understand? There's no news.
Right.
There's only ad copy. They read the bullet points.
Hey, we're doing stand-up comedy in Covina, California, Burbank, California, the day after Thanksgiving, Oxnard, California, Venice, California, Palmdale, California. Lots of places in the Southland. Omaha, Nebraska. We're going to be in Omaha. We're going to be in Des Moines, Milwaukee, Lansing, Bend, Oregon, Portland, Oregon, and Seattle, Washington. Plus, we're going to be in Boston, the Wilbur Theater in Boston. See you there.